Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from Anime News, and we are checking out every new isekai and fantasy anime from next season, fall 2024. I'm very excited for this anime season anyway. A lot of anime coming back or continuing that I'm very, very intrigued to be watching. One random one would be the Sword Art Online Gun Gale Online Season 2. I really enjoyed Season 1 of that back in 2020, I think it was, around about that time. I thought that was boss, so it would be really cool to see a sequel of that. ReZero is coming back. Tower of God is continuing apparently. But yeah, I've already got in my head what I'm going to be watching, but it'd be also really cool to see what is potentially ones to look out for. So let's get it.
As stacked as the new fall season is with
Yep,
regards to
ReZero,
sequels,
Gungale.
there's not many promising looking new ones.
Oh.
There's Dawn to Dawn, which isn't
Mate! I went to the cinema to see the first three episodes of Dawn to Dawn, and it was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. This anime is going to be sick.
even a fantasy or isekai, then one or two others that only look semi-decent. I'm hoping I'm wrong since last season was pretty slow too, but at least we have the return
Shangri-La
of a lot of tried and true anime. So, to start things off with the sequels, first we have the highly anticipated ReZero Season 3. It's been 3 years since Season 2, so if you're a bit fuzzy on what happened then,
Has it been that long? What the what?
I got you covered since I'm actually making a full ReZero recap video.
Sick. That's going to be so cool to check out. Awesome.
Just a quick summary of the main events, then a closer look into the topics that you'll want to know for Season 3. Now, if you're someone who's been lucky enough to watch Season 3's massive 90-minute first episode early, then you'd already know that we're in for something special here.
I can't wait. I just remember the time where everyone was like, there's just no way we're getting a season 2. And then we did. And it's just like, oh.
The first hour was a bit slow with all the setup, but the last half hour brings us exactly what we love from
Right.
ReZero.
Cool.
It ensures that
Suffering.
episode 2 will be right in the thick of it. It takes place a year after the events of Season 2, and with the
Oh.
Amelia camp now fully united, they must overcome the crisis awaiting them in Anastasia's city of Pristella. It's a new setting with characters familiar and new, leading Subaru against what's probably his toughest opponents yet.
Damn.
The anime itself will be split into 2 parts of 8 episodes each, the first being the attack arc starting October 2nd, then the next being the
So
counterattack airing
16.
February 5th. So, while the first part ends early in November and the second starts later into the winter,
only-
at least
Oh, with the first episode being an hour and a half, though. Right, I can kind of see that. Okay.
we won't have to wait an entire season between them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Next we have Spirit Chronicles Season 2, which is the isekai where the protagonist's past and current life intersect with each other.
I've not even seen season 1, so alright, interesting.
There's the orphan Rio who already existed in the current
They worked on Megalobox. Yo.
world, then the student Haruto who died in his previous world. It was one day that Rio woke up with the memories of Haruto, and that's pretty much where the story begins. Season 1 was mostly an introduction to the world, characters, and protagonists, so in Season 2 you can expect to get more into the bulk of the story.
Okay.
It will have more of those standard fantasy tropes though, so there'll probably be a waifu that needs saving, then that waifu will probably end up joining his harem.
Alright.
That being the case, if you like Season 1 then you're definitely gonna like Season 2. Everyone's favorite edgy protagonist returns with Arifureta Season 3.
I found this so difficult to get into. I tried watching season 1 just to like check out the videos that Anime News had. And I might do, but you know, third season started now. People must enjoy it.
This time separating from the conflict with his classmates and instead getting into a revolution with the Halia. After leaving the capital and heading to the Empire, Hajime finds Shea's tribe to be in the middle of fighting the Empire. A point made extremely clear by the number of heads being chopped off. This will be the new conflict Hajime gets involved in, along with the new labyrinth and more harem stuff. It seems they might be exploring more of Hajime's character this season. That and his dynamic with his harem. Shangri-La Frontier returns with Season 2 as well, and
Yo, season 1 was so freaking sick. I'm so looking forward to this coming back. I'm so glad it's not been that much of a wait either. God
after
damn.
watching Episode 1 back at Anime NYC,
Oh.
I can confirm it's more or less pretty much the same.
Nice, that's what I
It's
want.
still a solid
Just keep
anime
going.
about gaming, and it still has that high-quality animation.
Sick.
Season 2 looks like it'll be starting from the Nephilim Hollow arc, which is actually a different game from the one Sunraku is usually playing.
Oh.
It's actually my personal favorite part about the anime since
okay.
it's pretty entertaining to see Sunraku's skills in other games. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm pretty sure
I do like that when you get into the Shangri-La, but then every now and then he pops into the other ones. It's always cool to see that. Yeah, it's
the
class.
story is headed this season. Another returning video
Yes!
game fantasy is Gun Gale Online and its P90 Rusher Len. A
Do you know, I don't know why I never thought this would get a sequel. I love this. I thought this was boss.
series some of you may know is actually one of my personal favorites.
It's great.
Ever since the Death Gun arc in SAO, I've been a big fan of the shooter-style world GGO is known for. The whole anime battle royale thing just appeals to that part of me that's addicted to FPS games.
Right.
So, to see Len and her crew back playing GGO like it's Warzone, well, that's an itch I've been wanting scratched for a while now.
Hell yeah.
As for what you can expect, well, aside from Len taking advantage of her broken character model, there's another Squad Jam tournament that she'll be competing in. It'll be more or less the same action and BS we've come to expect, at least up until that tournament is over.
Cool.
Other fantasy sequels include the Beyond the Snow saga for Blue Exorcist, Season 2 for the
Do you know, Seven Deadly Sins I've completely fallen off. Blue Exorcist, I remember really enjoying the first season, but then when the second season came out, when I learned that the ending for season 1 was anime only, and then you've got to kind of ignore certain bits to jump into season 2, stuff like that throws me off. So I was, should I just jump into season 2 of Blue Exorcist? Because I do remember back in the day really enjoying the first
revamped
season of it.
sequel
Like,
Seven Deadly
Seven
Sins,
Deadly Sins
then
I've
the
just
two
done.
isekais of Demon Lord Retry and Tensei Kizaku. All except Demon Lord Retry aired less than a year ago, so if you watch the first season, not much should be very different in the second.
Okay.
As for this new installment of Demon Lord Retry, it's an adaptation of the manga's sequel, something that came out shortly after the anime's first season.
I don't even know what
So,
this is.
this will be a brand new production with the new studio and everything, focusing on the Demon Lord and his mysterious encounter in a dungeon. It also veers from the light comedy of the first season and approaches topics a little bit darker.
Oh.
There is still some comedy mixed in, but apparently it's layered with some truly villainous behavior too. I can't say the quality
Diabolical.
looks any better than the first season, but perhaps the story will be entertaining enough to make up for it. Lastly, we have Season 5 of Danmachi,
Oh
which,
my
just like ReZero,
God, I was not 100% sure about this, but if Danmachi's coming back, where am I going to watch this?
I'll also be doing a recap for.
Nice.
If you're not caught up, then
Oh, mate, so we're getting ReZero recap and a Danmachi recap video. Absolutely love that.
I highly recommend you do, since Season 4 was amazing and
It was so good. Season 4 of Danmachi was so freaking good. I might even... These might even get me back into doing my TikTok reviews. I was doing like 60-second TikTok reviews of every single episode and then uploading them as shorts on YouTube. And then I might do that
Season
again.
5 is going to be even better. This too I had the opportunity to watch early, and I
Cool.
can tell you the quality and plot have quite a bit going for it. For me, the story seems like it's about to get really interesting, since if you've been wondering about Sierra and the Freya Familia,
Yes.
that whole subplot is about to come to the forefront.
Nice.
It seems the mystery behind their connection is going to be unraveled soon.
Sick. Oh my God.
This brings us now to all the new anime,
Right,
which if
what
we start with the
have we
isekai,
got?
we first have Loner Life in Another World.
Okay.
It's a novel with a premise similar to
Shido
Arifureta, where
Pasho.
an entire class of students get isekai'd one day. The unique thing about our protagonist, though, is that, just like the title states, he's a loner. He's an outsider who thought he could restart by getting whatever cheat skill he wanted. Unfortunately, all the cheat skills were taken by all the other students, so the only skill he could get was, you guessed it, the loner skill. One that makes him incapable of joining a party.
Oh.
This makes him a recluse just like how he was in his old life, up until circumstances force him to interact with his classmates.
Seems so
It's until
strange.
then, though, you'll learn about his loner-type powers, along with his completely ridiculous attitude towards everything. Like, when I say this character's ridiculous, I really mean it. So, if you want to see an isekai with a quirky protagonist and somewhat unique powers, then Loner Life in Another World might be worth checking out for you.
Okay.
Next, we have the seasonal villainous anime, since it wouldn't be a
Yeah.
new season without
No,
at least
you
one.
gotta have them. Gotta
This
have
one
them.
comes from Studio Maho Film, and it adapts the light novel I'll Become a Villainess Who Goes Down in History.
Oh, I remember watching the
It's
first
a-
episode of I'm Standing on a Million Lives and thinking it was okay. That was a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Fairly standard take on the whole villainous trope, except the unique thing here is that the main character chooses to embrace her role as the villainess. Rather than try to
Oh.
avoid the bad ending surely awaiting her, she instead chooses to fully commit to the role she reincarnated into and become the greatest villainess the world has ever known.
That is cool.
The thing is, the more she tries, the more the people around her start to like her.
Oh.
So, all in all, it's your seasonal dose of shoujo fantasy. Now, the rest of the anime are more traditional fantasy, so let's start things off with what I think looks best.
Okay.
This is Demon Lord 2099.
This looks cool.
Another anime from
I like this concept. This looks cool.
JC Staff, taking the whole Demon Lord resurrection theme and throwing it into the future. It's been 500 years since the Demon Lord was defeated, and with Japan now this cyberpunk metropolis, his reawakened self must come to terms with the changed landscape
I
around him.
love the idea of
It's
it,
a
yeah.
unique premise that finally answers the question I'm sure all of us have had at least once before. Why do these fantasies always have to take place in a
In the
medieval
past,
setting?
yeah.
Well, even though this world is still filled with magic, at least it's combined with engineering to make it more of a sci-fi fantasy.
I'm intrigued.
It's a take on the genre that we haven't yet seen before. One I'm genuinely interested to see how it progresses.
Definitely.
There's actually 2 other fantasy anime JC Staff are doing this season, and one is the time travel romance of the do-over damsel conquers the Dragon Emperor, while the other is the stories of girls who couldn't
Not really
be
too I'm
magicians.
interested in, but it's interesting
The
that they're
former
doing
is a second
3
chance
for
redo
one
revolving
season.
around an executed princess
Same
and
anime
her
studio, that's
engagement,
crazy.
while the latter is an artistic slice of life focusing on a girl and her journey on becoming a mage candidate. They both seem to have somewhat decent potential, but what I'm more curious to see is how the quality stands more towards the end of the season. 4.5 concurrent anime is no joke. I mean, sure, some of this was probably outsourced, but even with JC Staff being as big as it is, I can't imagine this wasn't quite the crunch for them.
That's crazy.
But anyway,
That's a lot.
next we have the healer who was banished from his party is in fact the strongest.
My god.
A standard fantasy portraying what it's like to be in the wrong field of work. Here we have a healer kicked out of his party for not doing his job, only to reveal he's not really a healer at all. He's instead a close quarters fighter who's actually really strong. Why then was he in a party as a healer?
Yeah.
Well, those are the questions that keep me up at night. It's something I'm sure we'll figure out when we watch it. I don't think this is an anime I'll personally get into, but if it ends up being good, then come back and let me know in the comments.
I might.
This next one I
Give
was
it
actually fairly interested in because
episode.
of the title, but after realizing Notorious Talker didn't mean he literally talked shit to everyone, my disappointment was immeasurable and my day was ruined.
Oh.
I truly thought this was a gaming anime about a generational shit talker. Turns out Talker is actually just his job class, and while the position itself comes with 0 combat skills whatsoever, it does prove useful in fulfilling the goal he's set up for
That's a
himself.
bit strange.
He's able to use his skills to unite all sorts of powerful people under him. This leads into the whole running the world's greatest clan thing, which could prove interesting given its departure from the standard action fantasy. Up next is Goodbye Dragon Life, which is the story of the strongest dragon reincarnating in the body of a human. He now lives as a regular villager, enjoying his peaceful life far away from the challenges of being a dragon. That is until he meets a human-snake hybrid, becomes friends with her, then sets off on an adventure together. This leads to a dynamic of monsters trying to get along with humans, and all the standard fantasy stuff that comes along with it.
Okay.
An interesting-looking comedic fantasy is Studio Zero G's adaptation of Let This Grieving Soul Retire,
The end of the
a story that
Starry
centers itself
Bride.
around a Masayuki-type character.
Okay.
In a world where treasure hunters are more prevalent than ever, one person's legend reigns above the rest. The thing is, this legend kind of manifested on its own. You see, while he is revered by most as one of the best treasure hunters out there, our protagonist hasn't actually done anything. So, the anime
Right.
is him and the people around him, building him up as this amazing person
Just
when
glazed.
in actuality he's really just normal.
Right.
Kind of like an anime where Masayuki is the main
Right, okay. Makes sense.
Finally, we have Nina the Starry Bride, which is more of a serious romance fantasy catered towards the josei audience. I'm not sure it's something a lot of you would be interested in, but it is rated fairly highly for its well-developed plot and characters. So, if you're interested in a more grounded fantasy centered around Nina and her hardships, this might be something worth checking out for you. But yeah, that's every isekai and fantasy coming out this season.
Mate, it's gonna be
As
good.
I said, there aren't very many decent-looking new ones, but the sequels are definitely
Just
here
the
to carry
sequels
us.
themselves. Just
If there
oh.
was something you saw that stood out to you, though, be sure to let me know down in the comments.
I'm pretty sure Tower of God is continuing through as well. Pretty sure. I saw a trailer saying that like October 6th is like second core, so there's no break. Might be wrong.
But anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of anime content, then you already know what to do.
So,
until next time.
ciao. Very freaking cool. ReZero. Danmachi, Shangri-La Frontier, Gun Gale Online Season 2, Tower of God continuing. If I missed something else off of there that I would be intrigued by. Don't think so. Probably have. Really cool. Looking forward to this season. And yeah, it's a shame that not many new recommendations, but see how we go. Thank you to my patrons. If you want to see, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video and want to be able to watch Patreon-only reactions, such as the original Dragon Ball series, links in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask to help support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. See you guys all, guys, next time.